Welcome to my channel. I'm Triz, or my real name is Leona. We're going to speak about that today. But I go by Triz. I'm going to speak about that also today. Um, this video is going to be a little bit of a story time, draw with me kind of vibe. But I do many other things also. I'm actually a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit everywhere. I have adult diagnosed ADHD, so I've only in the last 2 years started learning how to deal with my ADHD, and I have pretty debilitating ADHD. Like my ADHD puts me close to the spectrum. Like it's like can't function even type of ADHD. So I have type 9, if I'm not mistaken, or type 8. I know there's like 11 or something different types. I think I'm 8 or 9, if I remember correctly. It's the one where your entire brain is just looks like a Christmas tree. Basically, they did brain scans of me, and it just looked like I'm using over 80% of my brain 90% of the time, even when I'm sleeping. So I only recently learned how to manage and deal with that, and that makes me a little bit a little bit there, a little bit everywhere. But I think that's kind of what makes me fun. So please go and check out the other things that I do on TikTok and Instagram. I'm trying to populate this YouTube with the things I do. I'm just still getting over myself and my own OCDs. That's really all it is. OCD about video editing, and kind of have to let go of that, I know, but we'll get there. So anyways, let's get back to the video and what I want to talk about. So go grab yourself, pause this if you need to, go grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a cool drink, a joint, your vape. Don't forget your vape. Or I hear like literally all the people vaping going out. Yeah, where the fuck is my vape? Go find a friend, come back, sit back and relax, enjoy, and listen to this maybe a little bit crazy story. I do want to put a disclaimer in here in the beginning. Some are already here. If you don't believe in what I'm going to talk about, that's fine. See it as a fictional tale. That's fine. I really don't care if you believe or don't believe. That does not change anything for my reality. Your belief has no impact on my reality. Just understand that. The only thing that has an impact on my reality is my belief. And my belief makes things real for me. Yeah? Because perception is reality. And what else is perception than a belief in what you're seeing? So you can listen to this with half a ear or half. Don't take it too serious if you're not into woo-woo things. I'm just warning you. This is going to sound crazy. You might feel at the end like you want to contact somebody to come, but I'm out here putting it out there because it took me over a decade now, almost 2 decades, to tell this story to anybody. Nobody knows the story, not even in my real life. So it's quite a big move for me. I wouldn't have done this if I wasn't speaking from a place of absolute truth. And the only reason why I'm doing this is maybe there's somebody else out there that needs this information. Yeah, that's all. So if that person is you, I'm glad I could help, and blessings. Okay, so without further ado, let's get to the story. Yay! Okay, so who is Triz? Well, Triz, or actually Triziana. Triz is a shorter version of Triziana because people struggle a little bit to remember the Triziana. Triz is a tulpa, I recently learned, thanks to Jonathan and Sean at Meta Mysteries podcast. Please go check them out. I'll leave a link in my description. They are so fucking, man. They just woke, but woke in the way that I like people to be woke. Okay, woke in the way where you realize how blind you are. So they did an episode a few months ago on tulpas, or a while ago on tulpas. I don't know when, because I've only recently discovered them. So for me, it's all just now that they've made it my reality. And apparently a tulpa, or like what I understand a tulpa to be, as a character that takes on its own life eventually. So for me, I feel like I've created so many tulpas over the years with my paintings and my sketches and my drawings and my works. Like, it's a thing that I do with all my things. I need to talk to my paintings. I need to become a personal thing. They have their own personalities, and They argue back to me. They speak to my paintings, speak to me. Dudes, they speak to me all the time. My sketches speak to me. They all argue with me at times. We fight and then we make up and then we love each other again and then we celebrate together. Like I have a whole relationship with my sketches, but in the same way that they have like little mini personalities, if I can put it that way, Triz is something that became a whole. She became. I am becoming her, if I can put it that way. She is such a big character that I've created that I am becoming her. I made her so that we'll get there. Wait, let me not foreshadow. Okay, so it's taken me years, and I mean like decades of reprogramming my own thoughts and habits to get to the point where I can say, I'm becoming a Triz. She's a real thing. She is more real than I am at this point. Leona is, well, let's talk about Leona for a second, yeah? For me, Leona is a very soft and timid, bit naive, very kind person, very soft and nurturing, very empathetic, the kind of person that you always want in your corner, like that ride or die that you can count on 1,000% of the time. Yeah. But the problem with Leona is she forgets about herself and she makes other people priority. And then it becomes a bit uncomfortable for her because everybody else is happy and comfortable and she doesn't know, or I don't know how to then get people to see that, okay, well, now that all of you are happy, can we maybe for a second just give me the help that I'm asking for? Yeah. But it becomes a bit of a fight in real life because Leona is too much of a people pleaser. And then when she wants something, the people around her go, but why you need anything? What do you mean? And I can understand that. So Triz was created for I think for that reason. Like I did not know why when this started. I did not understand. That's something I'll make a whole video on, is time and how time, sure, as people, because we're limited by the 4 dimensions we live in, and we can only see up to the third dimension because we're 4th dimensional beings. We can't escape the 4th one. The 4th one is what binds us, and 4th one is time. Therefore, time binds us, and as humans, we forget that we have a very limited perception of what reality really is. And time is something that I think a lot of people misunderstand completely. I think everybody thinks it moves linearly. It doesn't. Let me tell you this. Time does not move in a linear fashion. We only perceive it that way. We perceive time linear. So that's a whole video on its own. I'm going to leave that rabbit hole for later because I will diverge from my path for an hour talking about time. It was a big mental fuck up for me to figure time out. But I can now personally say that I am not bound by time. Yeah, sure, my life is and my human body is, but I understand that stuff that happened 10 years ago maybe only now is irrelevant. And then things that are happening now or somehow connected to things that happened before I was born. You know, like time is very fucky. Time is a fucky loop. So I needed to explain that, I did not know who Triz was going to become when I made her. In fact, for many years after Triz was created, I still went by a different art alias, Mippy Art. I don't know if anybody knew and remembers Mippy Art. That's me. I had a bit of a following back then. It's just a bit of a following, but at least like triple digit following at least. So there were some people who knew me, but Triz was already created then. And I still chose not to make her public because I had no idea what the fuck was given to me. I was just like, yeah, sure, it's a name, it's a character. We'll figure it out eventually. But yeah, so let's go back to Leona. So Leona basically went by the beat of everybody else's drum her whole entire life. She has like a stack of trauma notes as high as the ceiling, but that's something I don't want to talk about in this episode either because I don't want to introduce myself with my trauma. We'll do an episode where I'll do few episodes because we're going to have to break up my trauma into different time periods because there are different people and there are different situations, and some of it was my own doing. So there's a lot of things that happened up to the point where Triz was created that was extremely traumatic. I'll say the one that was probably at that point the biggest one for me was I lost my virginity by being R-word. So that I created just like maybe a few months afterwards, and I never told anybody about that either. Like my friends who were there with me knew about it. My mom only found out maybe 9-10 years later, maybe even more. Looking back, I should have said more. Looking back, I should have done something, because I don't know if that guy did that to other girls also, because he seemed like the type, looking back. But I was young and naive, so there was many bad things that happened, and I needed to find a way to make myself stronger, to make myself survive, because I was not surviving. I wasn't doing well. I was doing really bad at that point. So yeah, when I was about 17, I got R-word when I was 16 and a half. And then after my 17th birthday, I created Triz. Well, she created herself. She came to me, or she was given to me. To explain how she was given to me, we have to go back a little bit and just get some context on what kind of spiritual life I led up to that point. Excuse me, I had to take a sip. So I was born and raised Christian. I was christened as a baby, and I was baptized as a teenager also. I was very devoted. I was very, 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 very devoted. But I am weird. And I came out of my mom's womb weird. Like, even as a child, people were like, what's wrong with her? Like, back then it was wrong. We don't say that anymore, because there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just different. But there was a lot of people pulling their brows, at me and going like, what the hell is that kid even? I spoke very weird, apparently. Like, I spoke in a very strange fashion, apparently. I can't remember. I've seen videos of this, and I'm like, that's me. I get it. Totally get it. Anyway, so I grew up in a Christian household, Christian family, but the kind of Christian, the sect, for lack of a better term, I don't know what you would call the different types of the type of Christian, like the specific one, right? Like, are you a Catholic, a Protestant, or what are you, right? So I was something that I don't know if it exists outside of South Africa. I grew up the first bit as an NG. So NG, NG stands for Nederduits Gereformeerde. So Nederduits Gereformeerde, translated in English, would be Germanic Reformed Church. That is what it would, I think, would be because I'm sure Nederduits is Germanic. Okay, so it's because our founders of South Africa were Dutch, German, Portuguese, and Indian people. Like, most of our heritage spiritually comes from either one of those places. Like, you're either a Christian from the Germanic side, or you are more Catholic, the Portuguese people, or you are more like Islam or Hindu or something like that. Yeah. So I was in here. In here is very strict. It's very conservative. It's very close to Catholicism. Actually, they would hate me for hearing that. It's actually very close to Catholicism. And then when I was about 11 or 12, my dad decided, he wants to go to the evangelical Christian. So we have these Baptist churches that are like, it's evangelical, but it's also conservative in a way. Like, their thought patterns are extremely conservative, but their way of praise and worship is very happy clappy, evangelical. So I was in churches like that my whole life. And when I was about 13, 14, when puberty hit, the strangeness in me started manifesting in a more physical way. I started dressing a little bit differently, started listening to different music than just Christian music. I was looking for who I am, and dark and creepy things always have brought me some kind of comfort. There's something in the dark, creepy, weird things that is for me very beautiful. Like, and I also feel like if you can see beauty in the dark places, in the seemingly unpretty places, I think it takes a special kind of person to be able to see that. And I've always, because art has been something I did, by the way, art is the thing that I've done since I can remember. It's the thing, I don't remember anything before art. That's what I remember from my childhood also now that I've like kind of chosen which memories should stay around and which shouldn't. All I remember is drawing and doing art, mostly. Unless I choose to. Like, I know where I've filed the memories I don't want to think about. I know where they are. I can go think about them if I want to, but I just choose not to because I've healed from it and I've accepted it as part of my life. And I don't feel like there's any point in revisiting it too often unless it's to help somebody else. Yeah. For my own sake, there's no point in going back there. So, yeah, I went through a little bit of a wardrobe change. As I said, I started listening to different music. Also, I became friends. I finally made friends, and the friends I made, obviously, because I wasn't very popular in school, was the hardcores. They were the hardcores. So, family and stuff were very worried because I looked like one of those kids that were going to go do bad things at the school with shooty things, Like, I understand how to my family it might have seemed because they are uneducated and things like this, and they were unused. They didn't know anybody like me before me. So for them, they were just like, oh, red flags. We've seen this on Oprah. We need to take care of this. Have to send her to more Christian schools and to Reformations. And, like I went through, they tried to fix me. They kept on trying to fix me instead of just trying to understand me. But I grew up in a very small town also where I was not exposed to a lot. Like, and if I say small town, I mean like small town, my dudes, like probably a population of like 2,000 people, if that many. Like my school, my primary is elementary school. Yeah. My elementary school had about 150 kids in it. And the high school had about 200. So it's really small school, small place, right? And we weren't very exposed to mainstream media in that town. It kind of has its own culture and its own vibe and its own mindset. And if you're there, you're kind of stuck there in that mindset. But I'm not the kind of person. I wasn't born to be stuck. Like, I wasn't born like the same way those people were born. So I always could see clearly that I'm one of the different ones. There was other kids also who are different, and they're out there doing different things now too. But I knew I wasn't going to stay there for my whole life. And then we moved to a bigger city when I was 15. First, we moved to a slightly bigger town, and then we moved to a city. So in the city, I became exposed to a lot of things very quickly. The universe sent me into exactly the directions I needed to go immediately. Like, and I mean like within the first week that I got here, I'm still here, things started happening for me, like opening my eyes to different worlds. So in Bothaville growing up, we were taught that witches are very scary and you should stay away from witchcraft and magic, and it's a very bad thing and you will get yourself killed. Like they demonize witchcraft extremely much in that town. So and in my family's spirituality. They demonize it. So I was curious about witches because I've at that point already figured out that everything so far that these people tell me is bad. As soon as I go and investigate it, I'm like, it's not really bad, eh? It's just different. We can't call different bad just because it's different. That's not good, people. So I mean, I knew, and I kept on, like, I was 16. No, I mean 6 or 7. Like, I was in grade 2 or 3 when I told my teachers, like, listen, the only way that this species is going to evolve and get further in life is if they start learning that spirituality and science is the same thing. We need to connect those two, and we need to open up our mind to the other spiritualities out there, because I don't think God is just a God of one religion. I think he's everyone's God. I think it's the same God. How do we all have different gods? How does that make sense? Please. So I was a small kid trying to explain these things to people, and I very quickly learned what will happen if you explain these things to the wrong people. Yeah. I was ridiculed and bullied a lot for opening my little mouth, but hasn't closed my mouth since, and found people as soon as I got to the city called Bloemfontein where that knew what I wanted to know, or they knew where to go looking for what I wanted to know. I wanted to know more about magic and more about other religions out there, more about witchcraft, Wicca, paganism. Just I wanted to know more. I had this urge, this need, this deep desire to know more. Like, I still have it, but I feel like I've learned how to sate it, at least, how to not have it be so much that I will bulldoze through walls to get the information I need, like having it be all consuming. That is where I was there at 17. I was consumed by learning more. Like, I remember I had a waitering job, and the waitering job was very close to a bookshop. So in my lunches, I used to go sit in the bookshop and copy over, sneaky copy over the words in the, like, all the paragraphs, books. I copied over the books so that because we didn't have camera phones yet back then. I needed to read this information, but I didn't have enough time and I didn't have money to buy the books. So I just copied over what seemed important to me, like highlighted, like made notes, and then took it home and went and studied at home more, like after work, just trying to find more, learn more, because I knew there was more out there. So yeah, naturally, when somebody the first time also mentioned what paganism or Wicca, paganism and Wicca, because it's two different things, are, it resonated so much with me. It just sounded like, yes, that sounds more like God. You know, that sounds more like what I feel the truth could be. There are some things that I don't know so much about, but we'll look into it. Like, I'm the kind of person that believes that there's always 3 sides to a story: my side, your side, and the truth. And the only way that you can get to the truth is by taking my side and your side away. If that makes sense. So I've been doing that with everything that I learn about, taking away the human perspective and seeing what stays, you know, like the things that would make it different because different people saw it. I take that away, because that which is left, that can only be the truth. Yeah. So I immediately started doing that with these pagan books, and because I just felt like there's this puzzle that I'm trying to build, and here I'm finally starting to find some pieces to this puzzle. Like and I'm still building a puzzle, but the puzzle now has a much clearer picture by now. So in building this puzzle, I think also there was an element of pure belief because of naivete that maybe became jaded over the years and made it harder for me to be this pure as what I was at that point in my life. But I keep on going back to that moment to remind myself how to just let go and believe fully. Okay, so I started learning about traditions and rituals you can do, you know, the normal things you learn about when you go through Wicca. You learn the Rede, then you start learning about all the different moon cycles, all the runes, how to use them, how to use candle magic, how to purify water, how to purify salt, how to bless things, that kind of thing. I started going through that. And the first big practice that I was given to do by the people that I was speaking to is they told me I need to learn how to meditate deeply, like meditate in a way where my physical being dissolves, in a way where I can astral project, because you need to be able to let your consciousness leave your body to let it do the magic, is what they tried to explain to me back then. And I did not understand I was just like, yeah, tell me the formula, I'll do the formula. I don't understand yet, I'll figure it out as I go. Just tell me what to do. So like, okay, meditate. You need to learn how to meditate. I was like, okay, well, I've been doing yoga since I was 13. So I've been meditating since I was 13 already. I knew how to meditate at that point, but not the way they were explaining to me. So I started learning how to put myself into very deep trances and how to let my consciousness leave my body for a second. But I didn't know that's what I was doing. Now I can see that's what I was doing. I can see that now because I understand what I'm doing now. But back then I had no concept of what I was just like, meditate. Ooh, things tingly. Yay. Ooh, I floaty. Ooh, floaty. That's fun. Oh, yeah. So I had no concept. I had no idea. So in one of these deep meditations, as soon as I left, I was somewhere different. It was like I was dreaming. I felt like I fell asleep and I was dreaming. That is the best way I can explain it. It feels, still looking back to me, feels like I was in a dream. Feels like I went somewhere in a dream. That's the best way I can, I can try and relay what happened. So I went into this dream, we're going to call it, in little quotation marks, right? Little hussy workies. I went into a dream, and in this dream, the moment, like, it's like I poofed into this place, and this place was just very bright. I don't know how to differently explain it. There were some structures around me, but I did not recognize them enough to still be able to give them a name. I've tried drawing some of them, but because I don't know them, it's very hard to remember them correctly. Because for me, I need to understand something I'm seeing to be able to visually remember it. And what I mean with understand is, I need to understand what I'm looking at. Yeah. I had no idea what the fuck I'm looking at, so I don't know how to redraw that, because I don't know what I'm looking at structure-wise. I don't know if we were in something, or we outside, or we on a balcony. Is this, because like there was sky maybe above us, or it could have been clouds. It was just very bright. I could just see very bright all around me. I remember it was so bright. All I focused on was this dude that was standing in front of me. My dudes, and I still get goose flesh where I'm sitting right now, because I can remember that guy's face, everything. I can remember his voice. And it's strange because this happened almost 20 years ago. This year it's been 19 years since that, 18 years since that happened. So it's been almost 20 years. It's long ago. The fact that I still get goose flesh when I think about him is crazy. I remember him having a very sharp face. He had a very sharp nose and a smallish looking face, but very sharp. Like a very sharp chin, very angular jawbone. You get me? But person still, like, is a human, and had like very, not very shorty, but like short, like that when men's have that style where they have the little bit of a kafie, like a little bit of a fringe standing up in the front, and then some spiky gel mission going on. Yeah, that kind of style. Yeah, kind of that hairstyle, but the whitest hair I've ever seen. Like, looked almost gray. Looked like a very, I don't know, but he was young as fuck, and he was very tall. So, and then he told me, what was he wearing? can I remember? I was looking at his face so much because his face is so. I'll go. You know what? Now that I can draw much better, I will go draw him for you guys because I can draw him actually pretty accurately now that I'm thinking about it. He had such a specific face. First thing he said was, "I'm Vez." There was no greeting. It's just, "I'm Vez," and then there wasn't words. It was just this. He looked at me, and there was this sense of, "I understand. You're my brother." Don't know. I can't explain that. I can't explain how I knew and how I felt. I can't explain this, people. I feel like I want to almost tear up because it sounds crazy. I know, but this really, I'm, yeah. Let me take a second. Breathe deep, because it's a hard one to talk through. Okay, so I just knew he was my brother. He didn't have to tell me. I just knew, and I looked at him, and I went to him and gave him a hug, because it felt like seeing somebody that you thought were dead after so many years. You know, that feeling of coming home to someone, that feeling of, oh my God, I missed you so much. I'm so grateful to feel you for a second. It felt like that. I'm sorry for the tears. I'm a very emotional person. You'll still get to know that about me. So I felt like I knew him for my whole life, and like I missed him. Felt like, oh my God, I'm so glad to see you. But I have no idea where this guy is in this body, in this life. He means that I don't see him around me as an incarnation, if I can put it that way. I've never met this person in real life. Like, he's not here. He's in a different dimension. Definitely 100% not in this dimension is what I know now. But back then it was just a dream I was having. And somebody then explained to me that it's my guide, but I've grown past thinking that it's just a guide. Yeah, he is a guide, but I think we make guides out to be very impersonal. I think guides are some of our family members, like our real family members, you know, like your soul family members who are still in the different dimension, staying there to kind of help. I don't think we all come to incarnation at the same time. I think we make turns so that somebody can stay behind and help out, because I think we do eventually as a species evolve to the point where we understand how time is one big loop. Yeah. The big Doctor Who said it the best. It's a big ball of wobbly bobbly bobbly bits. That's the best way to say it. So yeah, gave him a hug and just stood there, like feeling his energy for a bit. And it was just the most love I've ever felt. I think I chased that in real life. That feeling. But I don't know that I've ever really, really, really felt that. Maybe on psychedelics for some people, yes. And then I stepped back and he just looked at me and he said, Do you remember? Do you remember who you are? Don't forget again. Don't forget, Triziona. You're gonna have to give me a second. I'm gonna have to pause this recording. Okay. I think I can do this. All right, let's try again. It's a deep story, my dudes. I told you. Told you it's a deep one. Okay, so he was just looking at me, and it wasn't more like that he told the only thing that I remember him physically saying with his mouth was, I'm Vez, and do you remember who you are, Triziona? Don't forget it again. That was the only things he physically said, but in between the do you remember who you are, Triziana? Like, there was a moment where I looked at him a bit confused, like, huh? And then in my head, like, in my head, because I mean, there I'm already in my head. I'm sure, like, this, all this in my mind, and my consciousness is somewhere else. I get it. But in my mind, I saw flashes of who I was supposed to become. And, oh, life has been very weird ever since then, because there has been moments where I'm like, oh yeah, deja vu. I remember this was shown to me before. But I forgot those clips. I only remember them when they happen, and I remember what they were about. Like, the general content of them were, and I don't want to share that because I'll share that when I got there. When I am Triziana completely, I will share what I was shown, because I feel like it will not feel genuine enough if I say it now, because then it seems like I'm trying to become that, and it's just naturally happening to me. I really am not in control enough of my own self all the time to make big decisions like that. I kind of go with the flow, and then I become more and more this person that, because I've learned to follow instinct. I've learned that I have a connection to a different place, and this different place is guiding me. And I've learned to follow that instinct. So yeah, that's the story of how Triz came to me. I woke up from that, or like I came back out of the trance from that and just knew Triziana. And I wrote that name down, and that became, for me, for a while, that was my, in quotation marks, pagan name. While I was a practicing pagan, that was my witch's name. And then eventually I realized that no, Triz is not just a witch. She's so many things. Great big fucking powerful being, right? So day by day, I'm living this life trying to just be, because I know there's no way that I can actually push myself into a direction and get the results because it's like magnets being pushed against each other. The only thing I can do is magnetize myself, e.g. what I'm doing right here, and attract. That's all I can do. So I do hope that throwing this net out there will reach one or two people who can find value in this story. I think if I didn't have that dream also, and that vision, or whatever it was, that experience, I think there was a few times that just kept me alive, to be honest with you. I think there's a few times when the only thing that kept me from self-exiting was the thought of being able to be her. And I think at this point, for everybody but myself, there isn't really a differentiation anymore, which is beautiful, which is perfect. I love it. Love the way I'm manifesting this reality around myself. All I can tell you is, you don't need to believe in magic for it to be real. It is. It's very real. It's very real. It's as real as science. We just haven't figured out complete science to it yet. But this whole movement that's happening, this paradigm shift that's happening across the world, I hope it brings a new era where we more openly discuss magic and how to use it. Because I think everybody's life will be better with a little bit of magic in it. You know? That's it for now. That's it for me for today. I hope you enjoyed my story. I'm sorry if it's not very I don't know, structured. I did write a script. I did try and follow a script. I absolutely went off the script completely. Yeah, because that's how I am. But I did try and keep it organized and keep my thoughts organized because I know I'm a little bit all over the place, as I said. So I would love to hear feedback on how was this? Did you guys enjoy this? I will keep on doing this though, because I'll keep on getting better at it. And I hope you enjoyed the sketch. I'm very proud of this artwork that I'm busy drawing. Yeah, I did it 11 years ago, and I'm redoing it now. So it's kind of a progression piece to see how far I've gotten in the time. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and I'll leave the rest on with maybe some music. Enjoy. See you soon.